2023 Toyota GR86 versus the Mazda MX-5. Which is the better affordable sports car to buy? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. A little while back, I made a video on the best sports cars available on the market right now at various different price points. And that comparison ultimately led to the Toyota GR86 and the Mazda MX-5 coming near the very top of the list, because even though you can spend a lot more money to get some amazing performance cars, you don't necessarily need to spend a fortune if you just want to have a really good time from behind the wheel. So for this comparison, we're going to spend more time behind the wheel of the new GR86 and the MX-5 to find out which one is the best affordable sports car that you can buy for the price. And if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I post 2 videos a week, always straight to the point, valuable car buying advice designed to help you, the consumer. So let's start off behind the wheel of the Toyota GR86, which was fully redesigned for the 2022 model year. The GR86 was co-developed with Subaru, which gets their own version of this car, which of course is the BRZ. Although both cars do have updated designs, they continue to use more or less the same chassis, which was introduced back in 2013. The companies did stiffen it, however, and tune the suspension for even better handling. One of the most amazing things about these cars is the fact that they follow a very traditional but also an increasingly rare sports car formula, which is the combination of a naturally aspirated engine, a standard 6-speed manual gearbox, and rear-wheel drive with a limited slip differential. And because this car weighs just under 2,900 pounds, far lighter than a lot of other sports cars, it also feels incredibly agile. Throw this car around corners and it's pretty incredible how amazing the handling really is. It feels incredibly well balanced and sharp, with virtually no body roll, which makes it an incredibly fun car to drive. In terms of sheer handling ability, I really don't think that this car would have a hard time keeping up with a lot of sports cars that cost double its price tag, which just goes to show you how competent and capable it really is. And not only does it give you amazing handling, but it also has a very good drivetrain too. One of the most important updates that this car received for its 2022 redesign was the addition of a new 2.4-liter 4-cylinder engine, which is a lot more powerful than the old 2-liter engine that it replaces. This engine produces 228 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque, which might not sound like a whole lot, but is more than enough for a car with a low curb weight like this. Compared to the old 2-liter engine, there's just a lot more usable torque, and this engine also revs quite freely up to a 7,500 RPM redline, which is quite impressive too. And not only does this new 2.4-liter engine produce more power than the old 2-liter engine, but it also sounds better too. I mean, take a listen. Some of that sound is coming through the speakers, but that's not bad at all. But not only did they improve the engine, but they've also kept the same amazing shifting 6-speed manual gearbox, which maintains a whole nother level of enjoyment. You can go for a 6-speed automatic if you really want, but this car really does feel like it was made for the 6-speed manual. But not only is the GR86 a total blast to drive, but it's also a very usable daily car too. Now yes, there is quite a bit of road noise, especially at higher speeds, but the suspension is fairly comfortable. I would be more than happy to live with this car every day. The front seats are very supportive and quite comfortable, and even though the back seats are extremely tight and barely usable, you can squeeze an adult back there if you really need to, and you also have a decent trunk too. And this car also impresses in terms of its tech. We have an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and we also have a fully digital gauge cluster, both of which look and perform extremely well. Compared to the interior of the previous generation car, this definitely feels like a significant step up, and feels more than adequate for a car of this type. I also think that this car is amazing value for what it is. For around $30,000 to $35,000, there really isn't much else that can compete with it on price. I think the ultimate conclusion that I came to in that sports car video still applies in this video today, which is that if you're looking for a 2-door coupe and just have to have something that has back seats and a trunk, then this is really the best sports car that you can find for the money. You could easily spend double this price on something like a Toyota Supra, a Nissan Z, or even a Porsche Cayman, but you're not necessarily going to be getting double the fun or even double the performance for the price. Toyota and Subaru really did an amazing job on this pair, and in terms of which one you should buy between the two, there really isn't a significant difference between them, so it really is a matter of which one you prefer in terms of looks and feel, or which one you're actually able to buy in your area. Whichever way you go, you really are going to be getting one of the very best sports car experiences on the market today. But the real question is, are you really going to be getting a car that's even more fun to drive than the Mazda MX-5? Well, it's time to get behind the wheel of one and find out. Alright, behind the wheel of the 2022 Mazda MX-5. Now, the first thing I have to say is that even though the MX-5 does have a lot in common with the GR86 and the BRZ, it is a small rear-wheel drive sports car. It has a naturally aspirated engine with a 6-speed manual transmission, but it still feels quite a bit different from behind the wheel. Even though the BRZ and GR86 are very small sports cars, the MX-5 is even smaller, and it also weighs a lot less too, at around 2,400 pounds, and you can really feel that from behind the wheel. Combine that small size, lightweight, and 50-50 weight balance, and you have a very agile and nimble sports car. I actually can't think of any sports car that's as fun to drive as this, and that's because no sports car is as small and lightweight as this. And of course, you also have that top-down open-air driving experience that adds a level of enjoyment that you don't get with the GR86 either. Now, on paper, the MX-5's numbers don't look all that impressive, but you quickly learn that this is not a car that's about the numbers. The 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine produces 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. Now, those don't sound like big numbers, but because this car weighs under 2,400 pounds, it actually has fairly impressive acceleration. It can go from 0 to 60 in just under 6 seconds, which is just as fast as the GR86. And even though the engine doesn't make a whole lot of power, it does have a fairly high redline at 7,500 RPM, and you can make the most of that power, especially with this amazing shifting 6-speed manual gearbox. The shifter in this car is truly amazing, one of the very best on the market. And it really does add to the level of enjoyment of this car. And not only is this a really fun engine transmission combo, but it's also remarkably fuel efficient as well. It's able to achieve around 26 to 37 miles per gallon, or around 6.5 to 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers. I can't think of another sports car that gets better fuel economy than the MX-5, which makes it one of the more usable ones to drive every day. And the other thing that's great about the MX-5, much like the GR86, is just its overall simplicity. It doesn't use a lot of overly complicated tech, and it doesn't even have any drive modes like a comfort, normal, or sport mode. It's sporty all the time, which is the way that it should be. And that simplicity and staying true to its roots is also what helps give it a great reputation for reliability too. The MX-5 is a sports car that you could easily drive every day and not break the bank. And the other way you're not going to break the bank is with the purchase price, because it's also quite affordable to buy. The MX-5 is priced from around 30 to 40,000 US, or around 35 to 45,000 Canadian. Now, it's obviously not quite as affordable as the GR86 or the BRZ, but there are some benefits that you get with the MX-5, especially that open top roof. You can get the MX-5 with either a power folding hardtop, which is called the MX-5 RF, or you can go with the manual folding soft top, which is the one that I have here. Like the rest of the car, the manual roof is nice and simple. You can fold it up or down in under 10 seconds, and that's the one I would definitely go for. So, at the end of the day, which sports car is it going to be, the GR86 or the MX-5? Well, there are some real good reasons to go for the GR86. For one thing, it is a much more practical car. It has back seats, it has a proper trunk, which makes it a lot easier to use day to day. It's also more affordable to buy, it has better performance numbers, and it's very fun to drive. As fun as the GR86 is to drive, the MX-5 just takes that enjoyment to a whole new level. And not only is it more fun to drive than the GR86, but you also have that open top-down experience, which just adds a whole nother layer of enjoyment. The MX-5 has absolutely nailed the classic sports car formula, and has managed to do so at a very affordable price point. It just has this indescribable fun and level of enjoyment that you don't get with any other car in this price range, and at the end of the day, that's what sports cars are all about. So let me know what you think of the 2022 Mazda MX-5 and the Toyota GR86. Which of these two sports cars would you buy? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at some of my other videos by checking out these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.